Only in America.
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 This week, we're dispelling the myth of the immigrant burden with the story of one entrepreneur pursuing her American dream.
You know, back home, she was an entrepreneur. She was an entrepreneur. She had her own job. She had her own business. She used to take care of herself and take care of 5 kids her own. And so she said, you know, maybe what thing you could do is to do food, because you've been cooking since you were 7 years old, and you used to cook for the entire family, 6, 7, 8 people. And you love to cook. You know, we used to make juices, we used to make energy bars, all these things I used to teach you guys to stay healthy, and this is something that a trend that the Americans are picking up. Why don't you just go back to that? But at the time, for me, I was just so focused that for me, the American dream is to work 9 to 5 for someone, not to work for myself. I didn't see it that way.
From the National Immigration Forum, I'm Ali Nirani, and this is Only in America. Starting a business is no small feat. From startup costs to licensing and permits, there are countless hurdles to overcome, and they can even be more daunting if you're a newcomer to the United States. And that's what makes the stats on immigrant entrepreneurship all the more impressive. Immigrants start businesses at almost twice the rate of native-born Americans, and for every 100,000 immigrants, 520 become entrepreneurs in a given month. Whether it's a Fortune 500 corporation or a family-owned restaurant, immigrant-led businesses across the country create millions of jobs and generate billions of dollars in revenue. They're not just providing for their families, they're driving prosperity at the local, the state, and the national level. For example, let's look at the food industry. Immigrants are indispensable at all levels. In addition to being an essential part of our agricultural workforce, they account for 22% of all restaurant workers and 33% of all restaurant and hotel business owners. Yet, immigrants make up only 13% of the U.S. population. From harvesting crops to prepping dishes to owning restaurants, immigrants are playing an outsized role in filling industry jobs and creating them. Immigrants who make vital contributions to our workforce and our communities aren't the exception to the rule, they prove the rule.
Support for the National Immigration Forum comes from the Carnegie Corporation of New York, supporting innovations in education, democratic engagement, and strengthening international peace and security. And from Humanity United. When humanity is united, we can bring a powerful force for human dignity.
When Nafy Flatley first arrived in the U.S., a career in the food industry was not even on her radar. Born and raised in Senegal, West Africa, Nafy came to the U.S. for university and then pursued a career in marketing. But even as her career took off, she didn't quite feel like she'd fulfilled her American dream. Rather than work for someone else, she decided her American dream was working for herself, through bringing the cooking techniques and unique flavors from her home to her new community. And that's why she founded Teranga, a food and beverage company specializing in unique ingredients like baobab, an essential part of Senegalese cuisine. She started her business with the help of Cocina, a San Francisco test kitchen supporting food entrepreneurs, particularly women and immigrants, helping them formalize and grow their businesses. This year, Cocina plans to open the nation's first women-led food hall to, as they put it, prove that economic inequality doesn't have to be the status quo. I joined Nafy at Cocina to talk about how she built her business and how her idea of the American dream has evolved, and, of course, to sample some Teranga products.
So before we get a little bit about your story, tell me where we are right now.
We are in the Mission District, and we are inside La Cocina Commercial Kitchen, which is on Folsom Street, 2948 Folsom Street, and it's a commercial kitchen incubator that supports women entrepreneurs, especially immigrants. and who are trying to start their own businesses. That's where we are at right now.
And so what's happening in the background over there?
Oh my God, I can already, like, my mouth is watering, the smell, I mean, it smells delicious where we're sitting right now. Inside we have a lot of beautiful chefs, really talented women making delicious food from all around, really. What I'm seeing right in front of me right now is oina, and they make couscous from Iran, and it's really delicious. They make vegetarian ones, and it's just mouth-watering. Like right now, I'm seeing their sauce that they make, this green sauce that you dip into the couscous, and it's just very, 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 very delicious. And then further down, I see Peach's Party, which is a Jamaican restaurant. They have a kiosk, and also they do a lot of catering. So it's just a lot of noise, a lot of smells mixed, from turmeric to cilantro to let's say beef jerky, spices, all those things all mixed together. And at the same time you hear the dishwasher running, which is like a big monster machine that cleans all the stuff and reminds us that we need to clean our dishes every single time we hear it.
So I made a huge mistake because I've already eaten lunch.
Yes, you did. You should have waited until you get here. Yep.
Oh,
Yeah.
alas. So tell me a little bit about yourself. Where are you from?
I am from Senegal. I originally come from Senegal in West Africa. And so I grew up there until I finished high school, and then I moved here in the United States.
What brought you to the U.S.?
Education. Yeah, I went to school here. So when I finished high school, I told my mom that I wanted to immigrate somewhere else but France.
Anywhere else but France.
Anywhere else but France. It's because, Senegal, I don't know if you know, but Senegal was colonized by the French. And
Right.
so I grew up speaking French, know very well the French culture. So I wanted to challenge myself to something totally different. So my two sisters and brother, they went to France. So they went to Sorbonne, that's where they did their studies. And then for me, I said, no, I already know how to speak French, I know the culture, I know everything about it. I want to challenge myself to a totally different language that I learned barely in high school. And I don't know it very well, so I would like to, immigrate to the United States. And my other option was Australia. And my mom would say, no Australia whatsoever. And then the other thing that influenced me about picking the United States was also watching and listening to a lot of American soap operas. I watched so many 90210s. I've listened.
Really, 90210 is the reason?
And Baywatch. And Dallas, and Santa Barbara, and what else? The list goes on and on and on and on. I swear to God, I would not eat lunch or dinner if those shows are on TV, just because I want to know what's next, what's going to happen in the next episode.
I am mortified.
Well, you ask, and I'm
okay.
telling you the real truth. I'm being very honest, really. That's like one of those things that influenced me in a way.
Yeah.
Because, like watching those soap operas, I was like a 16-year-old kid driving beautiful cars, have a job. I'm a 16-year-old. I'm in Africa. I'm still trying to finish high school, or I'm about to finish high school, living still with my parents, still depending on them 100%. And I'm like, how can I have that? I cannot find a job. I can work with my mom, but it's a totally different lifestyle. It was just totally different.
So then what was your first year in the U.S. like?
Oh God, my first year in the U.S. was, I woke up pretty early. I got in here. The first thing I saw when I landed in New York was the first place I landed when I came was the limousines. And I'm like, yes, the U.S. actually do exist. These limousines, I've seen them, in the Oscars, on TV and things like that. But then as I moved from, I stayed in New York for a couple months, and then Maryland, I lived there also for a couple months, and then I moved finally in California because this is where my school was. I started realizing that American soap opera thing was just TV. It's just a setup. That it's totally different thing. But yet I still felt like down the road I can still kind of have that lifestyle, because you grew up for 5, 6, 7, 8 years just watching those things non-stop. Even when you see certain realities, your brain, your mind works in a way that tells you you can still live it. It can still happen. Because, in here, you still see it on TV. When the Oscar shows up, you see all these things. So my first year here was somewhat a little bit challenging because I had to really re-educate myself, redefine my identity, who I was really, because I left everything home, no friends, no parents, nobody, and I came here on my own by myself. And so I had to start re-educating myself into speaking the language better because my accent was much heavier than what it is right now. And also the English I was speaking was British English. Nobody knew what I was talking about, like certain words I said, they said, we don't say that in here. This is how we say it. And the food was also very different. And like for the food, for me, like being back home in Senegal, I was like, I cannot wait to get to the US and I'll be eating so much McDonald's. That's what I was saying because that's what they were showing on TV. And to tell you the truth, since I've been here, it's been almost over 20 years, I only ate maybe McDonald's one or twice. For some reason, because I came, my body wouldn't even tolerate it. And the reason why is because I have also sickle cell anemia, the trait. And so living in Senegal, my diet was super clean. I had to really eat healthy. I had to really watch what goes in my body and the environment also I was living. So coming here, I just went wild,
Right.
like wanted to try everything. And then the first thing also that really shocked me was when I first went to a Safeway in Maryland. And I saw 6-7 different kinds of orange juices. And I'm like, how many different kinds of orange juice do you need? How many different kinds of milk do you need? In Africa, you only have one option or two, right?
Right.
And so all those things really made me realize and know that I was absolutely not in Africa anymore, but then at the same time, having to re-educate and finding myself and then finding my identity and then kind of integrating myself and then just being able to live the life that I was hoping, which we call here the American dream, was very challenging in the beginning.
So look back 20 years and how you would define the American dream then. How do you define the American dream now? Is it the same definition or different?
It's still somewhat the same, but the only difference is that you cannot just get up and then think that money will just be on your plate right here. You have to work hard for it. Like the way I was told that it was, it's like in French we say, tu ramasses l'argent dans les rues, as if like you just walk on the street and then the money is just flying on the street and you can get it. But then you really have to work. You have to also be clear in your mind, in your goals, what you're really aiming for, what you really want to do. You cannot just say, I'm going to live the American dream, so whatever comes, I'll just take it and I'll be able to make enough money. Because all the money you're going to be making might even go back to taxes, and because those things don't really exist in Africa. You don't even see those things. You think that when you make $2,000, you're getting those $2,000, but no, it's not quite that unless, you don't pay taxes or things like that.
So then what brought you to La Cocina and this effort to start your own business?
So after I graduated from college, from University of San Francisco, I started working in the Silicon Valley as a marketing director, and I was able to finish school as I promised to my mother, start working like a good job, and that was things that I really felt like I was living the American dream. I was married, I had my son, but the minute that my son was born, actually that's when like the twist happened, like things changed. Prior to him being born, I was doing everything that I really wanted to do, everything that I loved to do, which is traveling, which was to have a good job. I had a good education. I can really do anything that I wanted to do. The sky was the limit, pretty much. But the minute that my son was born, and he was born preemie, I had to really pretty much, again, redefine what the purpose of me being in here and living the American dream. How do I redefine what the American dream was for me? So now I have a family, I'm married, so this child needs help and support. So how do I do that? The job that I had at the time, they weren't very flexible into letting me take extra time off to take care of him. He was 4 pounds 10 ounces, really tiny little baby, and so he needed a lot of different therapies at the time. And so when I requested time off and then being able to support him and take care of him and or at least work part-time and keep this job that I really love doing, they didn't want to do it. So they just say it's either full-time or nothing. So I had to start thinking about whether do I want to do this or not. So I went back, I worked again a couple months, but it was just too difficult. So I ended up quitting the job and staying home, brainstorming, trying to figure out what's next. I was living what I thought was the American dream, and now I'm here living in one income in a city that's one of the most expensive city in the world, San Francisco. So how do I take the next step into supporting my family? And my mom was living with us at the time as well, and she was starting to develop early dementia. And so I had to support my mom, support my son, and all this, everything just started be very, very, very different, like the lifestyle and then all the supports that I was hoping that I could get from just working in this job. And so I ended up brainstorming, working odd jobs here and there, and then asking back my mother, what should I do? What is one thing that I could do that will keep me here home, take care of you, take care of my son, and then be able to do all the stuff that I wanted to do. So, we started talking, brainstorming, and, back home, she was an entrepreneur. She was an entrepreneur. She had her own job. She had her own business. She used to take care of herself and take care of 5 kids her own. And so she said, maybe what thing you could do is to do food, because you've been cooking since you were 7 years old, and you used to cook for the entire family, 6, 7, 8 people. And you love to cook. We used to make juices, we used to make energy bars, all these things I used to teach you guys to stay healthy, and this is something that a trend that the Americans are picking up. Why don't you just go back to that? But at the time, for me, I was just so focused that for me, the American dream is to work 9 to 5 for someone, not to work for myself. I didn't see it that way. I didn't see that working for someone would be is the ultimate thing, the last thing that I could work for actually myself. So I started thinking, and then I started making the juices that we were making back home, and then have friends try them. And actually I used to have them even when I was in college, friends and family, when they have potlucks and invitations to certain events. And people used to always tell me, Nafy, these are so delicious, these are so good, you should definitely make a business. But for me, my brain was just completely shut off. It wasn't just, I said, oh no, this is just things I grew up with, eating, drinking. It's really good. I just love using it as a participation, and stuff. And so as I started making them more and more, showing it to people were really telling me, you should definitely do this as a business. It will support you. It will make you stay home more and, take care of your family and things like that. So I started to look into how do I start my own business, really. And that's when La Cocina come to place. And
how did you find La Cocina?
So I remember when I was in college and my finals, studying, had the TV on, and I heard about it. It was in 2005, I think it was. I haven't graduated yet, and then so I saw it on TV, and they were saying, "Oh, this organization supporting, woman entrepreneurs." So I thought that was a great idea, and for me, it wasn't for me. I just saw it, I heard it, and then I kept going on what I was doing. And when I started to start my own business, for some reason, it just came back to my brain immediately. And I put my son in my car, start driving in the Mission. I didn't remember what the name of this organization was.
You just started driving around the neighborhood?
I started driving inside I knew it was in the Mission, but I didn't know where exactly, and I didn't remember the name. But I knew if someone tells me the name, I'll remember what the name was. So I started with the law office that supported me with my immigration and my mother's immigration case. So when I went there and they said, Nafy, I'm not sure. Maybe one place you could look at is the women's building, because everything happens in there. Everybody, that's the one place that they will go if they're looking for something. So when I went there, the woman said, the only place I know of that supports people and immigrants start their business is this organization called MEDA, which is not far from here. They do very similar work as La Cocina, but they don't have a commercial kitchen. So I said, well, I'll go and find out. Maybe someone there might know. I know that it's not MEDA. So I walked into MEDA, and the person that I met at the front desk said that they don't have a commercial kitchen. They do support people with starting their own business, just be self-sufficient on their own private life, and credit scores and all those things. I said, well, I don't really need per se credit score, but what I want is to actually to start a business. So they said they have this class that they do on a bi-monthly basis for people to come in and learn how to start their own business. So I said, okay, I'll register for that. Since I've been driving all day and it's time to go home, and
my son is in the back seat.
In the
He's
back
tired.
seat, and he's super tired. I've been feeding him and playing with him in between stops and stuff. And so I said, I'll register for the class and I'll come in. So I started taking that class on a weekly basis, every Tuesdays. And the first class, I spoke to the business coach, and then I said, I was told that there is this organization, or I saw on TV a long time ago about this organization that actually do help women immigrants. And so when the minute I start talking, he just knew what I was talking about. He said, oh, you're talking about La Cocina. And I'm like, yes. Now people won't say I'm crazy because I've been going around in the last few weeks trying to find out this place.
Then, as you built out, as you have kind of embarked on this process, what are the top 3 things that you've learned in terms of building your own business?
That it's really, really hard to find enough resources. Like if you wanted to do it on your own, it's almost not possible for like an immigrant. Because the reason being, you went through a process of looking for visas before you moved to a country. You see how much paperwork you have to submit? And so coming into another country and trying to start another business, and you start to say, okay, I need to submit more paperwork, that just losses you a lot. Like you don't know where to start and what to do. So having someone like an organization that is here to support you and guide you through all that process, it makes it so much easier and much more comfortable, so you don't run away and then just say, I'm going to do an informal business. I rather do that, don't have to worry about documents, don't have to worry about the government. And I feel like a lot of people were in the same situation as me, because going through a process of trying to get a visa, having to submit so much documents, and sometimes you get denied, sometimes you get lucky like me, and I was able to make it here. But just the process of going through that is so hard, and then you have to do the same thing over here again. That's very discouraging. So having organizations like Cocina or Meta or Renaissance, those really help. So that's one thing that really supported my business. And then the next thing is trying to figure out an affordable commercial kitchen, which is what La Cocina has. I mean, if I didn't have this, I don't think I'll be able to even scale or even think about starting the business or making it formalize it, the way that I have it right now. Because the price that we pay, the technical help that we get, the marketing support that we get, some of the other classes, and then the connection. The dishwasher, exactly. You know what? The dishwasher was so scary the first time I used it. I mean, the one I have at home is totally different from this one. And the other thing that I'll tell you that's also scary is the 3-compartment sinks. All the different, you're like, where do I put this? Do I go from left to right or from right to left? All those things. And they make it comfortable for you. They make those things be like a no-brainer, like something that is part of your daily, your daily routines, And so, and the last thing is trying to find resources like money where you can actually, a lot of us use our own money, like for me, the money that I used was, the severance package that I received after I left my work. So I saved that because I knew that I didn't want to spend that money all gone and not be able to use it for something else. I kept it so I can invest it in. So that's what I used to start Teranga. So those are like few things that really, as an immigrant, it's really a challenge. It's difficult, the language barrier for a lot of us also too, because the system, we don't understand how things work. It becomes really hard. An organization like this that know how things work makes it very easy.
So tell me a little bit about the business.
So Teranga is a food, a beverage, a snack, and hot food. We're putting everything in there now. Now it's everything. The hot food, we really start working on it in the last few months. And so with the help of La Cocina, because they are opening the municipal market, which is going to be one of the first woman-led municipal market. Did you hear what I said? first woman-led municipal market. There's nothing like that in the whole entire world. And so I'm one of the 7 businesses that are going to be part of it. But what I started first was with the juices, the energy bars, and then the dry packaged foods that I've been doing. And so thus far, it's been really good. I am in a lot of grocery stores. I am in few farmers markets, and I also do specialty stores and cafes. And so it's a lot of education because a lot of people don't know a lot of the ingredients I use. I use mainly baobab, and I also use moringa, tiger nuts, and other African local ingredients. So I'm really trying to bring local African products and mix them with local American and other products from around the world. Mix them together to make, because it's a melting pot in here, as you saw in San Francisco. It's like see people from all around the world, and so those flavors, those tastes, when people try them in my bars or the juices or the food that I make, the savory food that I make, it always brings them back or it reminds them of something that they had. Like one thing is like tamarind. I use a lot of tamarind, and a lot of people here told me that I stole it from their ancestors here in the kitchen, and we always laugh about
it. Really? It gets pretty intense in there.
Oh, it's like that. They're like, Nafy, how do you know tamarind? I said, I grew up with a tamarind tree at my house. No, tamarind comes from Mexico. No, there's no way you can have tamarind. And then we laugh, and then because it's like, different parts of the world, different continents, and they didn't know that actually Africa has tamarind, and we grow tamarind. And so all those different mix of flavors really kind of like supports and helps what we're trying to do with Teranga.
How old is your son now?
My son, he just turned 10 years old.
Oh, really? And what does he think about your business now?
Oh, he is one of my my favorite critics. He tries the juices and tries the bars, and he gives me thumbs up or thumbs down. and every time he tries it, I'm looking at him and I'm staring, and he picks his hands and then he goes slowly down or up, and I'm freaking out. And but I have 3, so I have 2 more after him. Yeah, so I have another 9-year-old, and then also a 3.5-year-old. And my husband also has an older son. We have a stepson as well, who's 24 years old.
That's fabulous.
Yeah.
So the name of the podcast is Only in America. So my question for you is just to finish this sentence.
Yep.
Only in America, ...
Only in America you can find the only woman-led municipal market in the world.
Fabulous.
Yes.
Thank you.
I think so. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're
Thank you. And I look forward to coming back in the spring and trying it.
Oh yes, I would love it. Actually, you know what? I have some juice I would like you to try. So I want to ask you, what's your favorite? Tamarind, hibiscus, or ginger?
Ginger.
Ginger?
Yep.
Okay, so the drink I'm going to give you, it's called the Teranga Strong. One of my kids actually named it Teranga Strong, so it has baobab, white hibiscus, and ginger.
Fabulous.
Yes.
Okay.
Cool.
Thank you.
Okay, I'll see you soon. I'll be right back.
So you wait here?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Down. Okay. So this is the Teranga.
Teranga Strong.
Teranga Strong.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh no, you're going to do the same as... Oh no, now my head is spinning. I'm going to close my eyes. And then let me know.
Smells gingery.
Yes.
Very
Yes.
fresh ginger.
Yes, fresh ginger. Yep.
Wow.
And it's
Oh my. I feel like I just drank like a little bit of ginger.
yep.
That is amazing.
And then it has the baobab fruit, which
Oh, wow.
is one of the new superfoods that you find. That's the new superfood, really. You find it. It grows in sub-Saharan Africa, all the way down to Madagascar in West Africa. That's where you find the baobab trees. And
This
that's
may
it.
be my new favorite juice.
No way.
This is amazing.
Oh, yay! Thumbs up.
Thank you.
Nafy Flatley is an entrepreneur, chef, and founder of Teranga. You can find more information about Nafy and La Cocina at our website, immigrationforum.org/podcast. And while you're there, subscribe to Only in America to catch all of the latest episodes. Tune in next week for the 3rd installment of this series, The Myth of the Immigrant Burden. Only in America is produced and edited by Joanna Taylor and Megan Wetmore. I'm Ali Nirani, and I will talk to you next week.